I'd like to call this meeting of the Alexander County Board of Commissioners into session. At this time, if you'd all please rise for the invocation, which will be given by Commissioner Darrell Robertson, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and I will be doing the pledge.
As we pause this evening, let's have a moment of silent prayer meditation for those in the Midwest who have experienced such tragedy in the last week with storms, tornadoes, and so on. Heavenly Father, as we pause this evening, we're thankful for the protection that you provide for us. And Father, we would lift up those who have special needs due to the tragedies that have befallen them in the last short period of time. We would ask that we might have the wisdom when it's within our ability to provide relief to those who we can, whether they're far away, whether they're in the Midwest, or whether they're just down the road from us. Father, we would ask that you would give us your insight that we might be of benefit to those who do have special needs. As we pause this evening, we would also ask that we might have your wisdom, that we might conduct this meeting in the business of this county in the manner that the people of this county deserve. Father, we'd also pray that you would be with those in Washington and Raleigh as they make decisions during this budget time, that they might have the understanding that the decisions they make should be for the benefit of this country. We would also ask for your protection for those who are in service to this country, whether in this land or abroad. We would pray that your protective graces might be with each one. Now we pray that you would be with us as we participate in this meeting and protect us as we journey from this place. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Attention, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Gentlemen, at this time, gentlemen and ladies, excuse me, at this time I'd ask if any commissioner has any report that they would like to give at this time. There being none, your agendas are before you. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as is.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion is made and second. All those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Those opposed likewise, motion carries. Thank you. As the only agenda tonight is public comment, we ask that the public comments, when you give those, we give you 3 minutes, and you will probably, most of the time, the commissioners don't say anything back. It's an opportunity for you, the citizens, to voice your opinion about the things that you'd like to. Tonight, we've had one gentleman that has signed up. That's Mr. Glenn Mays. Mr. Mays, if you'd like to come forward, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, and Mr. French, Ms. Starnes, ladies and gentlemen here, those who are viewing this on TV, and those who may be listening on radio. I thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you and to share some information about an upcoming event. I'm here on behalf of the Alexander Friends of the Library. As you know, we lost a fine patriot last November, and I refer to Johnny Lackey. Following his death, members of his family wanted to honor his memory, and they made a sizable contribution to be applied to the cost of a flagpole to be placed at the Alexander County Library, which, by the way, is located directly across from his home. The library, too, is where he assisted on many occasions. The Alexander Friends of the Library took on this project and provided the additional funds needed to purchase the flagpole and a marker to be placed at its base in memory of Johnny. Excuse me. On July the 4th, the Friends of the Library will conduct a ceremony in front of the library dedicating the flagpole to the memory of Johnny, who many remember as the Flag Man. Many others remember him not only for putting out flags around the town, but also as a friend. The Friends of the Library invites everyone to participate in the event. It'll be a patriotic occasion with music by the Alexander Central High School Band, with participation by the junior ROTC program, or those members, members of veterans organizations from throughout the county, and some Boy Scouts, and there will be others too. After the dedication ceremony, the Friends of the Library will provide free hot dogs and drinks for everyone. So we invite everyone to come. So I say, what better way could we celebrate the memory of a patriot and our nation's 237th birthday? So we invite everyone and hope that you will attend this celebration. It will begin with music about 10:30 a.m., and then the ceremony will begin at 11 o'clock. So we thank you very much for the opportunity to share this information with you, and we hope that we'll see you on the 4th of July. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item number 2 on the agenda tonight is the 2013-2014 Alexander County proposed budget. As this is a public hearing, I will call this public hearing into session at this time. Mr. French.
Thank you. The 2013-2014 proposed budget for the general fund totals $34,663,449. The 2012-2013 budget for the general fund totals $34,088,803. This is a 1.6% increase, or $574,616. The general fund contains 20 new employees. 12 of these employees are for the new Alexander County Detention Center, which opened earlier this year. Accepting Allen County inmates will generate more than $756,000 in new revenue. 2 employees are proposed in the Sheriff's Department, 1 in Human Resources, 1 in Maintenance, 3 in DSS, and 1 for the Bethlehem Library. And really that's moving someone that's a 32-hour employee into a 40-hour employee slot. The proposed general fund budget contains no tax increase. Fee increases are being proposed for building inspections and emergency medical services. There is a 5% water rate increase for all Alexander County, not the town or Energy United, but just Alexander County water users, and there is no increase proposed for landfill charges. As we've been talking, as we review our proposed budget, as we've been talking the last few meetings, there are several areas of concern. There are 3 areas I want to identify as you look at the budget of serious concern. 1, there is little to no growth in county revenues. Tax collection, sales tax revenue numbers are very flat. County general fund revenues total around $32 million. A total of $2.5 million of county fund balance will be needed to balance the proposed budget. Our last audit for the 2011-2012 fiscal year reported our fund balance at $8.7 million, or 29%. The average fund balance for counties in our population group is 27.25% in 2012. And please note, some fund balance may be needed to balance the current 2012-2013 budget. The second item to keep in mind is, with this in mind, let's take a serious look at the cost of our new law enforcement and detention center. The debt service on this facility is estimated at almost $1 million per year. It's paid off in 2026. And the proposed 2013-2014 budget estimates a $2.6 million operating budget, plus $200,000 is estimated for the first full year's utilities, for a total of about $3.8 million. Combined funding for the new law enforcement and detention center equals $2,256,000, which includes $1 million from the previously enacted 4-cent tax increase, plus $756,000 for housing inmates from other counties, plus the savings, a $500,000 savings from ending the practice of sending our inmates to other counties. What this means is funding for this facility will cost $1,500,000 more than revenue cost savings. These additional dollars will have to come from the fund balance. Third point is Alexander County has budgeted $5,150,000 for education for the past 7 years. A total of $5 million is budgeted for county schools to use in operating expenses, and $150,000 is budgeted each year as 50% of the debt service payment for the Alexander Central High School auditorium. Alexander County school budgets have been drastically impacted by the loss of low wealth funding, loss of school enrollment dollars, and other state reductions. The school system requested over $600,000 additional dollars to help offset the loss of low wealth funding. Dr. Brock Womble, our new Alexander County School Superintendent, will make a presentation later on at our meeting. Our next meeting to look at the budget ordinance is scheduled currently for June 19, 2013 at 6 p.m. here, and again, that'll be considered the budget ordinance. At this time, I'd like to present some slides concerning the general fund. If you can see this, the orangish color or the salmon color, whichever color you want to say, not the blue color, is the 2013, represents 2013. The first column shows the general government, and it shows a slight decline in expenses in the general fund for comparing current fiscal year to next fiscal year. Likewise, the debt service is reduced somewhat. Also, environmental and economic development is also somewhat less. Again, following the slides, it's cultural and recreation. That's just the categories that we use for our audit. It also is reduced at that time. So in all those 4 areas, current budget expenses are reduced. Okay, would you go to the next slide? Human service budget is increased. It goes from $9.8 million to $10.3 million. Most of that is on the state side, with some of the increases in foster care. Education, as it's currently proposed, is basically the same. As you see that in the middle of the screen, that's flat. Public safety shows a sizable increase. In public safety is all the fire, everything, sheriff's department, and everything together. It goes from $7.5 million to basically $8.5 million overall. Okay, the next slide shows the different funds. Solid Waste Fund, we have a number of county funds. Solid Waste Fund, it shows the current budget, which is $1.5 million. It goes up to $1.6 million. We have a landfill closure fund, which is currently $184,000. It goes to $190,000. We have 2 water funds. We have a county water fund and a Bethlehem water fund. County water fund it currently is $1,153,000, and proposed is $1,094,000. Bethlehem water fund is pretty flat. It's currently $1,156,000, and we're proposing $1,158,000. The next slide shows other government funds, the expenses comparing 13 to 14. Again, these are more funds. The reval fund, which is we're working on, current budget is $159,734. It goes to $435,341. That's money that we've been setting aside for revals to get that process started. Fire district budgets are pretty much flat. If you look at those in the center slide, a little over $904,000 is budgeted in 2013. In 2014, $911,000, so pretty much the same. There's no increases in the fire taxes in any of the fire districts. 911 Communications Fund actually decreases a little bit. It's currently $163,861. It drops to $139,121, and that's due to the state reductions. The last slide that I have concerns the detention center expenses and revenues. The little bit of green that you see that tracks across the screen shows the revenues, and those are actually state revenues that we received for, at one time that basically have dried up and gone away. In the far column, you have, in the green, you have the revenues total for housing, basically it's housing prisoners from other counties. The cost of operating the jail, as you can see, is started in 2010 as a little over $1 million, $1,072,000. It's $1,038,000 in 2011, $1,132,000 in 2012. 2013, the current budget, it's $1,896,000. Of course, the reason that increase is because we've started operating the new detention center, and for basically half a year. And then your 2014 budget has salaries and everything budgeted for a full year, which is $2.6 million, $2,624,000. So I just wanted you to see the slide as far as that is concerned. The detention center is something that we're going to have to keep a real close eye on. So the next item I want to bring up before Dr. Womble does his presentation, or if you have any questions, there's a number of projects, and in the water fund that we talked about earlier, I'm proposing that we hire a county engineer. And I'll name some of the projects that we're looking at right now. We've just received notice that we've been funded for the Alexander County Water System Project, which is a state revolving loan fund, which is a $3.4 million project at zero interest. This is something we've been working on since 2010. We still have the courthouse renovation. When we built the jail, we borrowed $10 million. $1.5 million of that was for the courthouse renovation, and so that money's set aside, but we need to do that project. We've received word, and as most of you know, on the PARTF, which is the Parks and Recreation Trust Fund, that we've received $225,000 as a match for Phase 2 of Rocky Face Park. We have talked about once the Dayton building is, once we're at a place where we can demolish the Dayton building, that we'll take that down. So far, I don't have funds budgeted for that, but I'll have a number soon. Also, there's a storage building that's needed for the Sheriff's Department, and I don't have any funds set aside for that, but I believe the cost for that's about $100,000, but I don't have that nailed down yet. We also have projects. We have a garage that we've been working on the plans for, but we currently do not have any funds budgeted for it at this time. Likewise, the animal shelter, which we set aside $125,000 this year, but had an estimate that was much higher than that, so that's on hold. In September, we plan to apply for another round of state revolving loan funds, around $2.5 million, and I'm hoping that that'll happen a lot quicker than this other has happened since we've been working on it since 2010. And I believe that's my comments, Mr. Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. French. That $2.5 million you're talking about that we're going to apply for, that's for water, is that not correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Gentlemen, ladies, any commissioners have anything they'd like to say as this is a public hearing?
I don't know.
It's been a tough budget.
Does anyone in the audience have anything they'd like to say? Anyone like to speak concerning the budget? This is your opportunity to voice your opinion about what's going on in your county and with your funding. I'm going to. I got you. He keeps telling me, says, don't forget Dr. Womble. I haven't forgot Dr. Womble. He's sitting back there looking at me. And Harry Shrump's paying real close attention to me. He's making sure I don't waver. But I'd like for you to hear Dr. Womble's presentation during this hearing process. Dr. Womble, if you would, please come forward and make your presentation concerning the schools, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you. Let me start by saying, go to the first slide, that first of all, we want to say this has been a year of accomplishments, and we've had some very good things happen, and they've been with your help. As y'all know, Saturday, we graduated inside, out of the rain. 348 seniors graduated on Saturday, and it was another good year. We also, in the past year, with the help of the county commissioners, working with CVCC, a new facility to focus on job skills. Having a partnership with CVCC. Next year, we'll have 22 students right now scheduled to be a cohort to provide college and career-ready promise classes. So students will be able to take classes that will help them at four-year institutions and also will help them with their associate's degree. So that was a lot of work this year by our principal and our curriculum specialist, Associate Superintendent Dr. Jennifer Hefner, and we're very proud of where we're at this stage with the CVCC and the career and college promise classes to be able to offer our students more opportunities. And then last week, we found out that at part of Golden Leaf, we were provided $800,000 to provide a new one-to-one initiative for Google Chromebooks at Alexander Central High School. And we say beginning 2014, 2015, we'll probably have some implementation phase in next year, but probably fully engaged in the year beginning in 2014, 2015. We're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to what opportunities it provides our students. Next, the goals tonight is to meet, first of all, we want to meet existing current operating expenses with existing revenue. Second, we want to increase awareness of the need for additional educational services. And third, we want to create a partnership to provide our students additional opportunities. We've had a good partnership with y'all, and we want to continue that. We are in this together, as we know. Next, we're going to analyze the budget. Analyze the budget for you, and one will be the financial status where we are, plus the fiscal analysis, and then we'll talk about the low wealth formula. When we talk about the financial status, it's first of all say that we currently have a healthy fund balance, and that is because of the work of Ms. Mahaffey, our finance officer, and Mr. Hoke. They did a wonderful job of getting us where we are at this point. But we will utilize fund balance this fiscal year, and I will demonstrate one of the reasons why. We anticipate next year utilizing fund balance, and then we're utilizing retirements and resignation to meet revenue and expenditures. We had a drastic decrease in the amount of revenue that we've received in the last year and a half, and we are having to with retirements and resignation, meet our revenues and expenditures to try to get them closer in balance. Then also, we are seeking additional funding from the county commissioners. Talking about the decrease in revenue, we have had a loss in state and federal funding due to a decrease in state and federal spending on education. As we all know, the money that has been cut both federally and statewide is often put back into the local, for the local county commissioner or local entity to have to carry the burden, and that's where we are at this point over the last couple of years. We also have had a loss of flexibility in how we spend the money allocated to us. In addition, we've had a loss in state funding due to a decrease in enrollment, and we'll demonstrate that to you. And then we'll have a loss in state funding due to a decrease in low wealth funding. When we talk about a loss in state and federal funding, we try to get you as accurate data as we can, but if you need additional money, and we have some information with you, we're just going to talk in generalities. All these are numbers that are close to what we believe is correct. From 2011 to from the 2011-12 school year to the 2012-13 year, the state took away our flexibility. And we, approximately about $800,000 in less revenue we were able to generate because of lack of flexibility in our budget. Also, from 2011, 2012 till next year, we will see our low wealth funding decrease approximately $770,000. You'll see another figure that has $631,000. That is from this year to next year, but over the 2-year cycle, it's about $770,878. Also, sequestration, loss of federal funding, probably decrease in enrollment. You'll see our initial planning allotment from the federal government go from $280,280 to $2,399,882, and that's a decrease of $228,398 in federal funding. And over the last couple of years, we've had EduJobs money, and we approximately spent about $996,000 in 2011-12, and we no longer have those funds. So all those reasons are part of the reason why we were able to grow our fund balance, but at the same time, we've lost all that potential revenue that is really going to hurt us in the future. When you look at the planning allotment, we get a planning allotment in February, and at that point, we knew that we had a decrease in teaching positions by 4 teaching positions based on enrollment. We also had a decrease in low wealth funding by $631,000. That caused us great concern. We had always known that we were going to have a decrease in the teaching positions, but the low wealth funding was more significant than we had anticipated. But now knowing what it is, it's understandable. The Senate budget has come out, and it does not appear to be as friendly as our initial planning allotment. House it seems like for education to be a better budget than the Senate budget, but the Senate budget was significantly more than we had hoped as far as a cut into education. When we talk about loss of flexibility, let me give you an example, because I know that sometimes is hard for people to understand what has happened. But the state allots us teaching positions, and I think last year we were allotted about 260 positions. And what they do is they give you the equivalent, so even if the teacher costs you more than what they allot you, they pay for. If it's less, they pay for. But we were able to take a state allotted position that was worth about $55,972, and we were able to cash it in, and if we were paying the teacher for like a beginning teacher, the total payout would be $41,681. We were able to use the $14,290 to either gain additional teaching positions or use in other areas. Now that we've lost that funding, and when you have 260 positions, not all of them you're going to be able to use the flexibility, but there was a significant number that we utilized to be able to give us the flexibility to give us additional dollars to spend in this county. So that's an example of why the loss of flexibility has negatively impacted us. And again, that was unanticipated going into this year. I never thought that not only would they decrease the amount of funding that you have, but they decrease the flexibility in how you spend money, and that was done this year. The next slide will talk to you about where we are with loss of student enrollment. Here we are from 1993-94 school year to 2005-2006. And as you can see, we increased significantly or increased some throughout those years except for 2 years. But those came after large enrollment years from a 5.46% gain in student enrollment and also a 3.35% gain in student enrollment. So overall, the pattern was pretty positively for additional students. Now go to the next slide. From 2006, 2007, we started seeing a decrease in student enrollment. And this information is in your packet, and I've got it from the Department of Public Instruction. But it talks about going from 5,767 students, 5,767 students, to what they predict to be in 2017, 2018, 5,113. As you can see, that's a tremendous number of years with a decrease in enrollment. And the figures that we got from 2014-15 to 2017 and 2018 came from the Department of Public Instruction. Okay. Let me talk about the decrease of enrollment and how it affects us in the school system. And this is probably the best example to probably be able to indicate it to you. Let's say we have a school that has 63 students, and there are 3 teachers with 21 students in a class. That school loses 3 kindergarten students. So now they have 60 students. Well, they still need 3 teachers because 20 students per class. You would not want to have two kindergarten teachers with 30 students in a class. Those 3 students are per grade level. Approximately, you get about $5,361 per child. You know, that gives you a good estimate by the data that we have received based on 11-12. Those 3 students would generate approximately $16,083 per that grade level at kindergarten. And then, if you talk about the school, K-6, you have 6 grade levels. That's a total of $96,498 per that school. As you know, we have 7 elementary schools. Altogether, in this situation, that would cost us $675,486 in revenue, with no decrease in operating expenses if you're going to keep the same numbers. We do understand that you know, patterns fluctuate. You will not have 3 students per each grade level at each school, but I think it kind of indicates the impact that decrease in student enrollment have based on, you know, where the students are no longer at. And so you know, decrease in student enrollment dramatically negatively impacts us with the amount of revenue that we receive. Just because you have less students does not mean your operating costs go down. Next, you'll see the low welt formula. And again, you'll see from 2006 to 2007, we had an increase, and that figure that is probably okay, there it is. I'm sorry. From $1,104,699 in 2006-2007 to the high in 2011 and 2012 of $2,087,153. This year we had a decrease in the amount of money that we received from low wealth. We were held harmless with a 10% loss, and so that affected us $139,104 that we had less to be able to spend on the students in Alexander County. Next year, we'll lose an additional $631,774. So we definitely, while we went up in revenue from low wealth formula for a number of years, in the last 2 years, we have decreased. Next, I would like to view the low wealth formula to be able to kind of demonstrate to you how the amount of money that we receive locally impacts what we receive from low wealth. So if you go down on column L all the way down to the bottom, you see, go up a little bit. Okay, go up a little bit. I'm sorry, change the 010 to 020 for Alexander County. And this is information that we received from the Department of Public Instruction on their website. You see on the column, you see $631,774. That shows you the decrease in low wealth formula that will receive this year. Now go up, if you don't mind. Up. Other way. So, and there you go. Okay, wait. I think it's 42. Let's see. There it is. Okay, right there. Go up one and over to the left. You'll see the 5 one up, one more up. The $5,150,000 is what we received from the county commissioners, and this is based on 2010-2011 data. So, no matter what the county commissioner would give us this year, it would not affect what we receive next year. This is based on 2010-2011. So next year, the following year would be 2011-2012. If we were to have to receive, and let's put in a number of $5,800,000 in there, $800,000 on there, an increase of $650,000, go back down to where we were before. And you see the number now is $466,599. So there is an effect of the amount of money that we receive from the county commissioners to the amount of money that we receive from low wealth funding. And wanted to make sure we demonstrate that to you tonight. So, any questions on the low wealth formula while we're here with it? It's a complicated formula.
Is that state or is that federal?
State, yeah.
If student enrollment had not dropped off, I did just a quick calculation there. It looks like we've lost 393 students since the high of enrollment. So if that enrollment had not dropped off, would the low wealth funds have dropped off?
Low wealth is, student enrollment is a factor in it. What caused us to be at the $2 million figure was the fact that our effective tax rate in that given year was higher than the state's effective tax rate. So now we've gone back to what they say normal levels between 72 to 78% of what we can receive. So it was that played a part, but not a significant part as far as additional dollars or the county being over the effective tax rate.
Okay.
So next, we want to talk about just a little bit comparability and the rank per pupil and funding, district of similar size, student performance, and increased expectations. And go to the next slide. What we've done is just kind of demonstrate to you was for schools, the size of school matters. I mean, if we're all, the numbers of students you have affect what you can offer. And you'll see Watauga all the way to Alexander, and we just picked generally similar sized counties. There was no, just the main method of selecting them was on size of county, and you can see where that is. But now, if you go to the next, first of all, you look at Davie County and you see where they are. Now go down to the next slide when we talk about it. With Davie County, they don't receive low wealth formula. So for Alexander County, our rank was, for effort, was 88 out of 100. Well, you look at the ability to pay, because this county has more difficulty generating taxes than, say, Davie County, our ability to pay is 73 out of 100. So it takes that in consideration. And this is information from the Public School Forum 2012 local school finance study that you have in your packet. But the part that's interesting to me is the actual effort with supplemental funding, because, for example, I believe on one of the slides, Swain County is one of the counties that is one of the lowest in the local effort about the money they receive, but they receive a tremendous amount of federal dollars or in small county money. So while federal dollars may not be accounted for, but the small county is, and that boosts them up with their local effort, where our low wealth is calculated with our local dollars we receive. Go to the next slide. So, there is a need. One of the things that I've heard is we have outstanding teachers, outstanding students, and we are doing outstanding things. But let's make sure we are clear. There are areas for improvement this school system can have too. We can, when you dissect the numbers, we can improve our academic performance in 3.8. We can improve our end of grade examination performance, and we can improve our ACT scores. We also have talked to business leaders, and we know that not all of our students that graduate are career ready, and that's important for us to remember also. And also, finally, we want to increase the expectations. If you look at the North Carolina report card, 2% of the students in advanced placement classes, international baccalaureate, community college, or university classes is in Alexander County. The state average is 5%, and that's something we want to increase. And next slide. And, finally, just want to, we realize that we are in this together. We thank the county commissioners for all that you have done, particularly with the working with CVCC. And we look forward to continuing to, whatever you fund us, we're going to utilize the funding to the best of our ability, and we'll do the best that we can with it. But we look forward to having continued partnership over the next several years. So, any questions?
Go ahead.
No, I appreciate the presentation, Dr. Womble, and this was for our information, plus it's for the information of the citizens of Alexander County. And Alexander County Commissioners and Alexander County Board of Education have worked together very well for a number of years now, and we intend to try to keep that relationship going. When you bring it up in a meeting of county commissioners and you say you sat down with the school board and you had a problem, you put it on the table and you worked it out, they'll look at you like they don't believe it. But we have done that in Alexander County with a lot of projects. It bothers me to see programs that are created by the state. And the low wealth, you had an Excel sheet there, and they created it complicated enough that you don't just sit down and do the arithmetic and say, yes, that's right. but the state created the program. The state funded the program. And if the program was worthy of their creation and funding, it should be worthy of their maintenance. And we have seen, and we've talked about it, the federal government and the state government has a tendency when their budgets get tight, their budgets get tough, they start cutting things, and the things they'll cut are things like education, because that hits a lot of people, and a lot of people get upset. And it bothers me when they cut it. And they say, well, the county needs to pick it up because the county has responsibilities, but the state government and the federal government, they have responsibilities too, especially when they create programs and then they get down the road and, well, we're not going to fund that one anymore. When the lottery was being considered in the state of North Carolina, I wished, asked, and hoped that they would do a constitutional amendment to where it could not be touched by anybody other than for the purpose it was established. And 5 or 6 years ago, they started playing games with lottery funds. They didn't take them away from the school system, but they took other funds, and we'll use lottery funds to take care of that. So we've seen the games played, and it bothers me because we know what responsibilities of county government has been, and we'd like to see the state and federal, we'd like to see the state, I'll rephrase this, I would like to see the state live up to their responsibilities to the education system of North Carolina. I would like to see the federal government get out of the education business because, in my opinion, they've done more to mess it up than they have to help it, but that's a long presentation too. But I do appreciate this information, appreciate you sharing it with us, and we will see if we can't come up with a plan to where we can keep working together.
Dr. Womble, if my numbers are correct here, you're losing about 2.8 million. Is that right?
Over the last, I didn't add the total up. We can try to give it to you so you can see, you know, for me, the effect was seeing overall that there's a significant impact upon us, not the actual dollars, to make sure you understand there is that what we have done in the past won't be able to continue in the future because the revenue won't be there. So you're probably right on the dollars, but it's significant to say the least.
So roughly it's $3 million, 2.8. It's in the millions.
Yes. And you know, some of that was when we had the job money was, you know, was one-time money, and we knew it. But again, our finance officer did a great job of making sure using all those different funds to build our fund balance for a rainy day. But at the same time, our recurring expenses cannot meet what our expenditures currently are, and we'll have to make some decisions with that. And again, I want to recognize what you have done for our buildings. We have some beautiful buildings, and it's been done with the work of the county commissioners. But unfortunately, the state and the federal government have both put the burden back on the local government, in my opinion, with the lack of funding that we have. And we'll need some additional help to be able to recover from it, to be able to offer the same services we currently have.
Got one other question, and I don't expect you to have an answer for it, but I'd appreciate it if you would check on it, and we'll compare notes then. Have the state and federal government cut their departments in the same percentage they're cutting education to local entities like Alexander County Schools? And I wouldn't expect you to have that answer right off the top of your head, but I know how I would bet. But
it doesn't feel that way, I'll say that. So
if you would check and just let me know out of dumb curiosity.
I do appreciate, I'm always available to go over, you know, we gave you hopefully a lot of the information to document the information we gave you. Anything that we have, we'll try to give you the most accurate data we have. And if we're off a little bit, we want to make sure you understand it's only from a lack of, you know, it's only from a lot of effort to give you the best information so you can make the best decisions for you. But we'll be glad to sit down and talk with you. But again, we understand it's been a significant hit to Alexander County Schools, regardless where we're at, and we need some additional help.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Womble. Any other comments? Yeah. Mr. Singh? If you would, sir, if you'd step up since it's a public hearing.
Same question. What factors have contributed to the decrease in enrollment over the last, I think, 5 to 6 years?
Dr. Womble, would you like to address that question, please. If you'd step back up here, if you don't mind, please. I hate to put you on the spot, but the question was asked, and he asked the question, what factors are contributing to the enrollment decrease?
I couldn't accurately answer that. I just see the data and know that we've been decreased in enrollment. I don't know, somebody else may have a better idea than I do.
And then I had a second question. From the county, what sources of revenue do we use to actually fund the schools? Is it our sales tax? Is
And
it
property
property tax?
Yes, sir.
Both? Is there a percentage factor? Okay.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because Article 42 tax, a big chunk of that went to the school system. And in their wisdom, the state, when that tax was implemented, it was distributed per capita. And 3 years ago now, 4 years ago?
3 or 4, yeah.
The state, in their wisdom, made that a point of sale distribution, which, when they did that, they also made the requirement that counties had to hold towns and schools harmless. So it now costs more to implement that tax than we get from it. And back a few years ago, when we were planning some of the facility expansions and so on, we used the sales tax that was designated for education to help fund the facilities that were done in Alexander County. And now the state has said, okay, we're going to distribute this by point of sale rather than per capita. If you did that on the sidewalks of Taylorsville, you'd be arrested for robbery, because that's exactly what it constitutes. But so far, we hadn't been able to get the people that did that arrested, but we're trying.
Any other comments?
No,
I had a gentleman in the back
I'm
raise
sorry.
his hand
Yeah,
first.
go ahead.
If you don't mind, would you step up, please? State your name. Thank you.
Larry Holland, and the question I'd have for Dr. Womble is, it's unfortunate to hear the circumstances that are leading to a smaller number of dollars available for education. I would be curious to know what would be the specific regrets if the county doesn't meet that shortfall in funds. It's one thing to say you have a gap, and it's a serious one, and it's caught my attention. But I would, as a taxpayer in the county, I'd like to know what might be the specific things that we would collectively have to give up, specific things, if the county commissioners deem it not appropriate to provide additional funds. It's more or less a rhetorical question, because I'm assuming you're not prepared to do that today. But I would hope that the county commissioners would consider looking for that information before a decision's made, because it becomes a lot more contactful when you can actually see what the effect of not meeting that shortfall might mean to the county. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
somebody else?
That's all right, go ahead.
No, I wanted to ask County Manager Rick French, we were talking about the Article 42 sales tax, and what Commissioner Robertson was saying was that sales tax, we actually go in the negative. It costs us more money to have that sales tax on the books than we actually bring in because of the hold harmless provisions. When that sales tax was instituted, the state said that any money that the school system or the town loses because of the change in status, and the county has to make that up. Do you have any idea of what that's going to hit this year? What was our projected?
We have a sales tax report
Yeah.
that tells you what
What is
budget-
it? Can you tell that now?
For Article 42?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Article 42 is basically the tax that's phased out, so I don't really know, but what we have is just a
Oh,
few $1,000.
I meant the other one. I've got my numbers mixed up.
Which,
The hold harmless provision.
the hold harmless, so far through this year, we've paid out $76,908, and our net increase is $10,933.
Okay.
That's for 9 months. That's
9
pretty,
months.
pretty
Right.
sad.
Right. Mr. Clary, I saw you raise your hand if you'd like to come forward, sir.
Dale Clary, promised my wife I would not say anything tonight.
Will she be surprised?
Not at all. She'll probably hear about it at work tomorrow. Darrell and I were involved when a lot of this was going on, the sales tax, the auditorium, so it's all true. And we voted to build the auditorium with the full expectations of having the sales tax, which is gone. My main point was to ask a question, which I know you gentlemen and ladies have to address. If you decide to help the school system out, the library, who else? You know, we all need to be thinking, what does that do to our tax base? That's what it comes down to.
Tax rate.
Tax rate.
Tax
yes.
rate.
Sorry about the term, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's what you guys have to decide. And I think everybody should be aware of that because you don't have a magic pool of money, so. Just wanted to share that what had been said earlier was the fact, and it comes down to the taxes.
2.3 million is about 9 cents.
9 times, yes, because 1 cent, in
1
case
cent's
most of you don't know,
$250,000.
I apologize, Mr. Robertson, didn't mean to cut you off, but I know what he was going to say. 1 cent in Alexander County comes out to about at $250,000 tax rate. And we have talked about that many, many times, and if you look at 1 cent in other counties, it's a tremendous amount more money than what
Yeah.
Alexander
Didn't
County
mean to put
rates
you on the
from
spot. I
taxes.
just thought that's something everybody should
it's
think
the-
about
you know,
because it's reality.
It's a reality.
It's
That's it.
reality.
Yes.
It's 100%, and that's the reason I mentioned earlier that the state creates programs. The funding for those programs ought to stay with the people that create them, whether it's whatever department it is.
I think we've had that discussion.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I think we agree with it.
100%. Thank you.
Thank you,
Dave.
sir. Anyone else? I'm probably going to put Harry Shrum on the, oh, excuse me, ma'am, go ahead.
Well, this may not mean anything to most of you, but 50 years ago, this past May the 28th, I graduated from Stony Point High School. I have had 3 children to graduate and from Alexander Central, and I took my 89-year-old mother out to Stony Point Elementary School the other day because every time we passed it in the car, she couldn't believe. She said, "What happened to the school? What did they do with the school?" You know, she remembered the big 2-story building. And so I just took her out there during the school hours and showed her our state-of-the-art school at Stony Point Elementary. She was amazed. That was the same school that I graduated from back in 1963. And I personally am proud of the school system in this county and what the people over the years have done for it. And we don't have any problem with working with the school system. And the county commissioners throughout the years have always put education first. So I don't think anybody has anything to worry about. Whether you get to 2 million or not, you're gonna make it.
There's one other thing, Harry, I mean, if you'll help me out, and I'm not putting you on the spot, but I haven't seen anything today, Mr. French, if you would also, there's a movement on in the General Assembly to change the statute of the way the North Carolina lottery system and the way those funds were appropriated. And if most of you will go back and remember when the lottery was passed, it was passed where 40% of the funding would go to our school system. And folks, I know that there's one thing that happens in this county. If I sit and tell you I'm going to raise your taxes 6 cents, I can assure you that my wife will be upset with me because the phone's going to ring 400,000 times in 30 seconds. And I'm sure you'd be upset with me if I did something like that. And you pay attention to what county commissioners do because we're on the local level. We're here where you can get in touch with us. You see us walking the streets. You see us everywhere else. But I want to stress to you the importance of paying attention to what goes on in Raleigh and what those folks are doing. It's vital to this small rural county that you pay attention to what happens in Raleigh. Now, this statute, if I'm not mistaken, Harry and Rick, if you all will help me out, I think they're going to vote on this maybe Wednesday, I think, if I'm not correct. I mean, that's the way I read it. Wednesday, they're going to vote on changing this law on this statute for the lottery. And folks, if they do anything at the lottery, continue to give the money to the counties, but let the school system take the money that they receive from the counties and have the opportunity to be able to diversify that funding, to be able to provide the things that they need to provide for the students to get a higher education. Let them help build the inside of the school to match the outside of the school. If you understand what I'm trying to say, give all of our children the same opportunity. The only way that we're going to do that is that you're going to have to pay attention to what goes on in Raleigh, what goes on in Washington, and you're going to have to call your legislators. Let them know you're watching them the way you watch us. Because trust me, I know when you're watching me. I'm telling you. But the point is, it's your tax dollars, and you have a right to voice your opinion and let them know how you feel about these things. And that needs to happen, especially by Wednesday morning at 8:30 a.m. You need to let them know. And if you'll call Harry Shrum or see you, Harry, whenever this meeting's over, I'm sure Harry can give you a phone number or give you an email. And if you don't have it, you can look it under the legislature branch to see who your members of the state Senate are and who your House of Representative member is. But we need to fight for what's right for our local citizens and for our county and for our school system. That's enough said about that part. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to say concerning the budget? This is your opportunity to speak up about the discussions that we will be having between now and June the 19th. And I can assure you on June the 19th, this commission will come together and we'll make a decision as to whether we're going to adopt, adjust, or what we're going to do. Sir, if you don't mind, if you'd step up to the podium, please.
I'm Larry Riddle. I moved here 10 years ago. I moved here from Illinois. And if you know anything about what's going on nowadays, Illinois is broke, bad broke. But I owned 5 acres and a home I built in '79. The last year I lived there, my real estate tax bill was $3,400. And I moved here and bought a all-brick home, and my tax bill was $800. Now, I sat here lots of times and listened to people talk about how high a tax rate they have here. And really, you don't. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments? Excuse me, sir.
One
Go ahead.
comment to that. When commissioners go to funding education, that means the property owners of Alexander County primarily are funding the programs that the state has the opportunity to fund with income taxes and sales taxes and the revenue sources the state has. It was mentioned earlier, our revenue sources are limited to property tax and to the little bit of sales tax that does come back to the county. So those who created the program should sustain the program.
I hear what you're saying.
Yep.
But where I'm from, the tax school is their own taxing body. They don't
And
depend upon the commissioner.
South Carolina does the same thing, and we're operating under the statutes of the state of North Carolina, which spells out what we do, and we as commissioners provide facilities. The state of North Carolina by statute is to provide programs.
Okay, we can throw these rules
Yep.
back and forth all day, but what I'm saying is, a tax increase, what you're talking about, trying to get all this stuff redone so you get your money back, takes forever. What I'm talking about is you may have to raise taxes just to get by until you get all this other stuff done. And if you don't face that apple, the worm will eat it.
All right. Anything further? Mr. French, I believe you had something you wanted to say.
Just a couple comments. One is that, as concerning as what you mentioned about the lottery is very concerning about the funds. But in a couple of years, the sales taxes that we pay in North Carolina is going to change drastically. Services are going to be taxed. And so when you go to get your hair cut, or you go to the any services, when the plumber comes to your house, you'll be paying more in service-type taxes. And the idea is, of course, it makes the state more friendly to business. I say all that to tell you that when that's done, every state that has tried to do this, their sales tax numbers fall. Schools and counties both receive a lot of money from sales taxes. We do. We don't receive near as much sales tax dollars as we did a few years ago. In fact, a few years ago, it wasn't that long, we were receiving close to $7 million. Now we budget $3.6 million. If the school sales tax dollars don't cover their debt service, the county has to pay that debt service. That's the way it works. So the change in sales tax dollars could have a bad impact. I mean, we'll have a bad impact on the county. So I just want to say that. The other thing I want to mention is that Commissioners did have a work session on the budget on May the 29th, and had several hours where they went through all the information, and just want to point that out, that we did have a budget work session. Also, we have a Finance Committee, which is Chairman Berkey Jennings and Commissioner Darrell Robertson. They also have met on the budget. So just want to point those things out, Mr. Vice Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I was going to say one more thing. What you said was exactly right. What's happening in Washington, Raleigh, please pay attention to it, because all those programs that are cut there, it's left to local government usually to come up with the money to fund them, to keep them going. And I can promise you that we are very tight with every dollar, and you know, we don't have a lot of room to cut anything, so there's not a lot of wiggle room there.
All right. Entertain a motion to close this public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made and second. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Those opposed likewise. The motion carries. Item number 3 on the agenda, public hearing, approval of road names. I'd call on County Manager Mr. Rick French.
Thank you.
This is excuse me, Mr. French, this is a public hearing also.
Go ahead, sir.
4 road names to consider tonight. Boston Branch Lane, which is off Boston Road, Jace Ranch Drive off Rink Dam Road, Lily Marie Drive off Sulphur Springs Road, and Mike Abbey Lane off Crouch Road. All these are new names, and petitions have been filed. There have been no calls concerning road names about this, negative calls about this.
Any comments from any commissioner?
Did you say you'd had negative calls?
No, there have been
No
none.
negative
No
calls.
calls.
Excuse me.
Is this a public hearing? Is anyone in the audience has the opportunity to speak on behalf of the road name change? There being none, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
I second it.
Motion is made and second. Any further discussion?
Move to
There-
approve the, oh, we hadn't voted on that one,
Sorry,
have we?
excuse me, sir.
Sorry about
There
that.
being no further discussion, all those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Those opposed likewise. I'd entertain the motion, Commissioner Robertson.
Move to approve.
I second it.
Motion's made and second. Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Those opposed likewise, motion carries. Item number 4, Alexander County Resolution Application for North Carolina Rural Center Building Reuse Funds for Craftmaster Furniture. Mr. David Eisenhower, who is our Economic Development Director.
Thank you, Commissioner Yoder. As you noted, the agenda item tonight is a resolution in support of an application for Craftmaster Furniture. We will be seeking grant funds from the North Carolina Rural Center in the amount of $480,000 if you approve this resolution. Before I actually get to the resolution, though, we're privileged tonight to have with us Mr. Roy Calcaine, who is President and CEO of Craftmaster. And I'd like to ask Roy to come forward and make the official announcement and give the board a little bit of background on the project that's associated with the resolution.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. I'm Roy Calcaine, President and CEO of Craftmaster Furniture. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. It's with great pleasure and privilege that I announce tonight that Craftmaster has acquired the old Broyhill facility on Highway 90 in Taylorsville. Our business has grown tremendously over the last 7 years that I've been with the company. We've added over 100 jobs to our business. We've grown almost 45% in our sales, furniture sales. And we're at the point now where we are landlocked in the facilities that we own down in Hiddenite. And we have the need to expand our business, which is a great thing. The furniture industry has gone through some very tough times in the last 5 or 6 years, and we've been very fortunate to have the growth that we've had. So after many months of negotiating with the owners, which was since Broyhill had sold the building to a company called Vanguard Properties, they closed the facility about 2 years ago, and we've been in negotiations with them for the last several months to buy the property. And we did close on May 31st. Craftmaster now owns the facility. And if anybody has driven by that facility, you see what poor shape it is in. And we are going to have to spend a lot of money to get it back to where it needs to be. It is certainly an eyesore for the community. The parking lot is overgrown with weeds. The building itself is in disrepair. We are going to have to spend between $1.1 million and $1.5 million to get the facility back to where it needs to be. We've committed to at least 48 jobs to gain the funding from the Rural Center at $10,000 a job. Frankly, I expect to add over 100 jobs to that facility within the next 2 or 3 years. At one time, when I worked for Broyhill, we had 375 jobs in that facility. It was a state-of-the-art furniture factory. So we're proud of the growth that we've had. We need the support of the commissioners. David Eisenhower has been wonderful helping us through this process. This is the second grant that we've asked for. About 4 or 5 years ago, we had gotten a water sewer grant to extend the water sewer lines from Taylorsville down to Hiddenite, which was $1.6 million. We committed to 68 jobs, I believe was the number at the time, and we reached that number within 15 months. So we're familiar with the process. We need the support, though. It's going to be a very expensive project. In addition to that, we've been working with Dr. Wilmbold and Garrett Henshaw over at CVCC with this new training facility. And this is really an integral part of this program in that we need skilled upholsterers and sewers. And we're at the point we're finding it very difficult to hire skilled people. So we've asked the local school system and CVCC to help us find skilled workers, kids graduating high school that maybe want to spend a year in a college program with CVCC, that we will train them to be upholsterers and sewers. And the income levels are very, very significant as far as sewers and upholsterers go, anywhere from $15 to $25 an hour. So in conjunction with the growth of our company, we need the support of the local government and local education to help us find the right people for these jobs. So thank you. Any questions?
Just very glad to say that you made the commitment to provide the opportunity for people in this county to have a job there and to increase by 100. And I can't wait to see that place cleaned up and looking good.
Yeah, it's pretty bad looking.
It's
so.
pretty bad right now. You're exactly right. And we appreciate the effort that you put into Craftmaster and to this community to provide the things that you have. And it's great to see that the school system and CVCC and our industry as a whole are all trying to work together. And I know that you've been a vital part of being involved in that, and I just want to personally say thank you for that.
You're welcome. We're very proud of the company, and a lot of people think the furniture industry is died and moved to China, and it's not true. We're an upholstery company. This business is going to stay in this area for years to come, so we're very happy with where we are today. So.
I just want to say thanks, too, because you were involved a lot in discussions that we had before actually purchasing the CVCC building. And you said that there was a need out there, that you needed something like this, and I'm very glad to see you're taking advantage of it. So I'm glad CVCC, Dr. Henshaw, fellow commissioners, you guys, business and industry, we all came together found a solution, and I'm glad to see it's working out for
Well,
you.
we're committed to the county. You know, we could have easily bought a facility over in Catawba County or Iota County. There's plenty available, but we are committed. We've got a great workforce of loyal, hardworking people, and we want to stay in this community. So, thank you all.
How many,
Yes.
one other question. How many employees do you have right now?
We've got about 500, just over 500, full and part-time employees. And when I came to the company 7 years ago, we had about 400 employees.
And just adding a little bit to Ryan's comment, the presentation that was done by CVCC, and involved in that presentation was Alexander County Board of Education. The school system had a very strong part in that. Craftmaster had a part in that presentation, Steiner Mills. It was one of the best all-round presentations from CVCC, the school system, and industry and business in Alexander County that we've ever had, and I do thank you for that.
But we're glad you did the expansion.
Appreciate it. Appreciate all your help. Thank you.
And could you get Kevin Mann to move to Alexander County?
He's back there in the back.
I just think that would be nice.
Dave?
So, Commissioners, the action item that I have for you to consider tonight then is the resolution of support for the application for the Building Reuse and Restoration Grant. It is a required part of the application. I'll be glad to read that if you would like, Mr. Yoder.
Well, I think if you'd like to read it, just go right ahead.
I'll be
sir.
glad to.
This is a fine thing for this county at this time.
Whereas Alexander County's Board of Commissioners has indicated its desire to assist in economic development efforts for business and industry within Alexander County, and whereas the board fully supports the proposed expansion project proposed by Craftmaster Furniture, which will result in the reuse of an existing empty industrial building and will create a minimum of 48 new jobs for Alexander County, and whereas the board wishes to pursue the formal application for building reuse funds in the amount of $480,000 from the North Carolina Rural Economic Development Center, and whereas the board certifies it will provide the 5% match required and will meet all other requirements of the North Carolina Rural Economic Development Center Building Reuse Grant Program. Now therefore be it resolved, Alexander County is authorized to submit formal application to the North Carolina Rural Center's Economic Development, the North Carolina Rural Economic Development Center's Building Reuse and Restoration Grants Program in order to provide assistance to benefit Craftmaster Furniture. This resolution take effect immediately this day, June 10th, 2013. And I would point out, and Roy mentioned it, that as far as the application itself, Craftmaster only has to pledge 48 jobs because $480,000 is the maximum that you can get from this particular program. And I'll be glad to answer any other questions about the application itself.
I just want to say, I'm just thrilled that we have the opportunity to make a motion to approve this resolution. So I'd entertain a motion from,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve this resolution.
I second it.
motion's made and seconded. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Those opposed likewise, the motion carries. Thank you very much. Thank you. Do you have anything you'd like to say? You sat back there and been real quiet. If you'd like to come up and say a few words. Hey, we're tickled. Thank you very much. Good job, guys.
This is the man who's going to have to fix the building up.
That's what I thought. I thought maybe he might want to say a few words about his expansion, you know. Very good. Thank you, gentlemen. Item number 6 on the agenda tonight, the Alexander County Library Summer Reading Programs. I'd call on Laura Crooks, Library Director.
Good evening. Each year, the library participates in the National Collaborative Summer Reading Program, which is free for all residents of Alexander County to participate. This year's theme for children is Dig into Reading. We encourage children to keep up the reading during the summer. They sign up, read, report the time they spent reading or being read to during the summer, and enjoy our programs. But it's not just for kids. We have groundbreaking reads for adults, and we know everyone's busy, so we go for low-impact programming. We encourage adults to participate and set that example for our younger readers. Participants sign up, read, report the number of pages they read for a grand total for our county, and break new ground with workshops and books that are new to you. So I would like to share our summer reading video and encourage everyone to join in summer reading.
This summer, dig up some fun. Dig into reading. Who knows what you'll find? Explore with books and make the light shine. If you dig deep and are very clever, you'll find adventure and buried treasure. Watch the past unfold as stories are told. When you discover books, your imagination explodes. There's an amazing world right under your feet. Uncover the secret to make your summer complete. Visit your library and dig into reading.
It's Miss Mel with the Alexander County Library, dressed up as a pirate because this year's theme is Dig Into Reading. This year's summer reading theme brings a lot of opportunities for pirates, dinosaurs, construction.
And our favorite digger, Abby, the therapy dog from A Tale for Abby. She will be visiting Alexander County Library each Wednesday this summer for kids to read to her. Today, she's going to go with us to dig up some great programs. Come on, let's see what she can find at Rocky Face Mountain Park. Funny man Mike Schneider will kick us off at the auditorium on Friday, June 21st at 10 a.m. There will be a bag lunch picnic provided afterwards. Rocky Face Mountain Park is a great place to meet friends and hike. We will hike here on Friday, June 28th, starting at 8:30 a.m. There will be a picnic bag lunch provided afterward. Read the book Lucky's Plot and meet the hero at Bethlehem Branch on July 12th. There will be a bag lunch picnic provided afterwards. Bright Star Children's Theater brings their hilarious Grease Lightning show to the auditorium on July 19th at 10 a.m. A bag lunch will also be provided after this show. Our final program will be on Friday, July 26th at the Hidden Night Mine, sponsored by the Alexander Friends and Bethlehem Friends of the Library. It'll be a great day of learning and creaking. There will be a bag lunch picnic provided afterwards.
We have programs for all ages. Sign-ups all through the summer, but if you want to be on the A wall, you need to sign up by June 17th. We have programs for all ages this summer, from birth to adult. So check out our calendar at www.alexanderlibrary.org. Join us here at Alexander County Library this summer, beginning June 16th all the way to August the 3rd.
How much does the summer reading program cost?
Hi, my name is Chris. I'm the manager here at the Bethlehem Branch Library, and we're very excited about our summer reading program this year. Bethlehem Branch Library is going to be open on Friday, July 12th for a very special event. We're not normally open on Fridays, so make sure you mark your calendars. Libby Bagby, a North Carolina author, is coming with Lucky, the Plot Hound, and she's going to be reading for the kids. Lunch will be provided, and don't forget that we have preschool story times every Monday.
Arg, me mateys. It's time for summer reading at Alexander County Library. You can, and move your mouths. You need to smile. Can you dig it? Okay. 1. How much is a library card? Hey. Kathy. Or if you want to talk about digging. One more time. And put some body movement into it. Tell me like you're dead. Very good.
Can you go like, can you dig it?
If you didn't know I had a beard, you haven't been to the library in a long, long time.
We'll have sign-ups all through the summer, but if you want to be on the AWOL, you'll want to sign up by June 15th. Check that, June 17th. Crazy, but maybe not that crazy, I don't know.
That's a question. What?
So yes, we are very proud of Miss Mel and our summer reading program. Normally, traffic is a good thing, but maybe not when she's filming. So do you have any questions?
No, I just wanted to say, you guys do a great job. I've got a 5-year-old who's going to be starting school this year, and she loves books, loves to read. We've probably got 1,000 books or more in our house that she's just had to have, and she would rather read sometimes more than watch cartoons, so that says a lot. And I attribute a lot of that to Miss Mel and her preschool reading program. She went to that when she was younger and absolutely, loved Miss Mel and still, talks about her all the time. So
That's
she
wonderful.
does a great job with the kids.
Thank you. I think so as well. Everyone from, as you see, babies through teens, they get out there and participate for Miss Mel.
And, libraries, when I was a kid, it was I hate to say it, it was a boring place to go and grab books. We didn't have anything like that. So if you can engage the children, you've went a long way towards, making them lifelong readers, more educated, more well-rounded. So it can change their lives.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, thank you. I look forward to speaking again more about library programming. So I appreciate it.
Thank you, Laura. Enjoyed the video. Good job. Okay, now some more boring information that you'd like to hear about your North Carolina Association of County Commissioners and Government in the great state of North Carolina. We're going to show a short video under the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners legislative update video. Mr. Rick French, would you like to tell them a little about what's on there?
Well, it really won't be near as exciting as Ms. Mel and their summer
No, it
reading
won't
program.
be.
So it's pretty
That's
hard
exactly right.
hard to follow that act. But
Hard to follow that.
It might if you go down front.
no.
We'll let you do the dancing.
Chad,
That's a thought.
let Chad play it. It'll speak for itself.
Hello,
Thanks for taking part in County Assembly Day. It was a great day. Over 200 county commissioners and county staff converged on our state capitol to represent our counties. Your involvement makes such a difference. It is important that we keep this momentum moving forward until the end of the General Assembly session.
Since the last update, the Senate passed its version of the state budget. The plan includes both positive and negative aspects for counties. For the most part, Senate leaders did not pass down unfunded mandates to counties. The Senate proposed a $100 million allocation of lottery funds for school construction. Keep in mind, however, that counties should receive $180 million. This is a concern. More concerning, however, is the elimination of the statutory guarantee that 40% of lottery proceeds go to county school capital funding. This would be an unwelcome change. There is another area that draws concern, and that is a provision that would start an unsettling precedent of making counties responsible for funding non-county employee benefit costs. In the Senate budget, counties would fund any shortfall in the volunteer fire and rescue workers' compensation payments. We estimate this one provision would cost counties statewide $6 million. We are working to correct these issues, but we need your help in relaying these concerns to your legislators.
Now that the Senate budget has passed, it is the House's turn. House budget writers have announced a 3-week schedule that will conclude with a vote on the budget on June 13th. That leaves only 2 weeks to approve a consensus budget between the House, the Senate, and the governor. If an agreement is not reached, the Assembly must approve a continuing resolution, also known as a CR, before the end of the fiscal year, which is June 30.
Your advocacy team has been busy working on your legislative goals, many of them to help build options for our counties. One such goal would give some counties the option to publish public notices on their websites and by email instead of purchasing advertisements in newspapers. Again, it is only an option. Due to significant pressure from the North Carolina Press Association, the bill has an uncertain future. This is a situation where we will need every county to support one another to at least give them the option.
Another proposed piece of legislation that will help counties is Senate Bill 321, Contain Counties' Inmate Medical Costs. The bill has passed the Senate, and now we are working to have the bill heard in the House. This legislation will bring counties in line with state policy in capping costs charged to counties for inmate medical care. When enacted, this legislation should cause significant savings for each county. Please tell your House members to support Senate Bill 321, Contain Inmate Medical Costs.
Another NCACC legislative goal making its way through the legislative process is Senate Bill 236, Counties Responsible for School Construction. Originally a statewide bill, it has now been turned into a local bill, impacting only counties that have requested the option. Once the bill passes, it will give these counties an option to have the responsibility to manage all aspects of the school building process. It will also give counties the option of managing other functions such as maintenance agreements. Again, it is important to stress that our association's strength at the legislature rests in our unity in supporting that counties have options. It is a main point we stress at the General Assembly.
The conversation about tax reform is gaining more attention in Raleigh. However, a consensus plan between the House and Senate still seems to be far away. The House takes an incremental approach, lowering the corporate income tax, flattening the personal income tax rate to 5.9%, and broadening the tax base to a limited number of services. The Senate has 2 plans under consideration, one of which would broaden the tax base significantly by taxing most services, including health and professional services. It would lower the county sales tax rate, modify the local sales tax distribution, but provide a transitional hold harmless for counties. It too would lower the corporate and personal income tax rates. We are still assessing the impacts to counties under all 3 plans. However, leaders have assured us that counties would be held harmless when it comes to revenue generation. We will continue to be involved in this debate and keep you updated as things progress.
We appreciate your taking the time to watch this update. As Lisa said earlier, it is important that we keep the momentum of advocating for your legislative goals at the General Assembly. Be on the lookout for our weekly legislative bulletins and our monthly County Lines newspaper. But when we need your direct help on an issue at the legislature, you will receive an email legislative alert or a personal email from David Thompson. Remember, it is your personal contact with your legislators that really makes a difference. If you need anything, call us directly or visit our website for more detailed information. Thank you.
Any comments?
If you notice, that was the Alexander County Detention Center in
That is-
the video.
That is correct.
Very good.
Yes. Some very good information in there. Item number 7, Taylorsville Rotary Club Rotary Day Proclamation. And I get the distinct honor of reading this proclamation, and I have to say, well, I'll let them talk about everything they need to talk about, because I'm going to ask Mr. Paul Sink, who's the president of the Rotary Club, if he'll come forward, because I'd like for Paul to say a few words after I read this proclamation. There's several Rotarians that are here tonight, and I'm glad that you had the opportunity to listen to what goes on in the County Commissioners meeting. This is probably one of our very best informative Commissioners meetings that we've had in a while. But I will read this proclamation. It says, whereas Rotary International, founded in 1905, is the world's first and one of the largest nonprofit service organizations with over 33,000 clubs in 200 countries. And whereas the Taylorsville Rotary Club was formed on July the 13th, 1938, and has remained active for 75 years. And whereas the Taylorsville Rotary Club currently has 33 members that are a positive influence in the lives of our citizens. And whereas the Rotary motto, service above self, inspires members to provide humanitarian service, encourage high ethical standards, and promote goodwill and peace in the world and community. Whereas the Rotary mission is to provide service to others, promote integrity, and advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace through its fellowship of business, professional, and community leaders. Whereas current projects of the Taylorsville Rotary Club include the Children's Christmas Shopping Spree, which is funded by the annual Reindeer 8K Romp and Elk Trot, the GAP program that provides groceries to the elderly and shut-in, and the Backpack program for underprivileged children, among many others. And whereas the Taylorsville Rotary Club provides 2 annual scholarships at Catawba Valley College and sponsors the ACH Interact Club. And whereas the Taylorsville Rotary Club contributes to other nonprofit organizations such as United Way, Habitat for Humanity, and the Boy Scouts of America. Now, therefore be it resolved that the Alexander County Board of Commissioners hereby declares July the 13th, 2013 as Rotary Day, and encourage all citizens to recognize the Taylorsville Rotary Club for their 75 years of service to the citizens of Taylorsville and Alexander County, adopted this 10th day of June, 2013. And I'll make that in the form of a motion, and I'm going to ask the Reverend Paul Sink, who is the president of the Rotary Club, if he'd like to make a few statements.
I'll second your motion.
That'll be good, sir.
So we got something.
Thank you, so we'll have something to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. All right, now we can have discussion. Mr. Paul Sink?
I appreciate the proper parliamentarian there. Commissioners, to speak for the Rotary Club, we appreciate your recognition of where we are in the history of the incredible organization of Rotary International, but particularly of the Rotary Club of Taylorsville. We who are currently Rotarians recognize that as we continue to serve above self and to focus on those around us who find themselves in need, we are carrying on a very long tradition of Rotary International, but also of leaders in our own community. And so we are incredibly proud to be able to continue to support the programs that we do. We want to express appreciation for the entire community in supporting us in all the ways that we seek to serve the community, because it is not just the Rotary members who make these things happen that you mentioned in your proclamation. It is the community that comes together to support us in our fundraising and in our implementation of all of these programs, particularly the backpack program, which takes a huge amount of people power to take that program from concept to fruition every week of the school year, all year long. So I want to say thank you for the recognition. We appreciate it as a club, and we look forward to a wonderful year of celebrating 75 years of Rotary here in Taylorsville and Alexander County, and we look forward to some exciting things to come in this year of 75 years of celebration. Thank you.
Very good. If you don't mind, Paul, I know I should say Reverend Sink. I just always knew it's Paul, okay?
I've been called worse.
Well, it's not going to happen here tonight. Would you, if you don't mind, I mean, we talk about the backpack program, and, you know, and any time that you hear me talk with this recognition for the Rotary Club, I always say that one of the greatest things that in this community that I personally feel like that y'all have done such a great, outstanding job for is the backpack program. Would you please this is the opportunity, because a lot of people watch this program. Tell them exactly what the backpack program is and why it was formed, if you don't mind, please.
The backpack program is a program that serves those students in primarily our elementary and middle schools who would otherwise not necessarily have much food to eat over the weekend. These are children in our schools who receive, in most cases, free breakfast and lunch at school, and what their status of receiving dinner when they get home in the afternoons, we don't know. But we do know that in many cases, these are students who would be at risk for being malnourished. We know that when a student arrives at school in the morning and they're hungry because they might not have had enough to eat at home the evening before or any breakfast before they left for school, learning is an incredible challenge. That is what the impetus was for the program in the first place, was our teachers and guidance counselors recognizing that these kids were hungry and they could not focus on the important task of learning. And that is where the conversation started and how the backpack program developed. It was initially only at Taylorsville Elementary. There was a grant through Lowe's, a partnership with Lowe's Foods and the Second Harvest Food Bank that provided the backpacks and food for that school. The club expanded that to now serve all but one of our elementary schools, which runs its own backpack program, and we are also serving Head Start and our 2 middle schools. So it has grown tremendously and is directly tied to the need that is in each school. The students who receive backpacks are identified within the school by typically the guidance counselors who work with the principals to figure out which folks are the most in need. So we really try and target based on the knowledge of the folks who know the kids. It's an anonymous program to us who serve in the program. Each backpack has a number, and the child knows their backpack number. I'll share a brief story of a time that I was delivering backpacks to Sugarloaf Elementary. This was probably 4 years ago now, and I was carrying bags in the front door of the school, and there was probably a kindergartner, maybe first grade. He was sitting on the little couch outside the school office, obviously sick, waiting to be picked up to be taken home. And this was late in the week. I was taking in full backpacks, and he looked up at me. He didn't know me from Adam, but he saw those backpacks, and he had the strength to squeak out, "I'm number 6." And he knew that he needed that food over the weekend. So there's your backpack testimonial.
Thank you very much. It's a very outstanding program, and it's one that I am very thankful that the Rotary Club took on and has advanced this program unbelievably.
Indeed.
Very good. Any other gentlemen, ladies?
I just make a comment. I suspect if anybody is listening or thinks about this and would like to donate to the Rotary Club to help with the backpack program or any others, that could be received anonymously also.
That can be anonymously or publicized, may be mailed to Taylorsville Rotary Foundation at Post Office Box 86 here in Taylorsville.
Very good. That's Post Office Box 86, Taylorsville.
I would also, if I may, I would like to have the Rotarians who are
Please.
here to rise and stand with me because we have had a good showing. We had a few who ended up having to leave a few minutes early, but
So when you see these folks, give them a big hand and pat them on the back and tell them thank you for a job well done. They put in a lot of time and effort, and just so that you'll know, there's also one other thing that the Rotary Club does. If you look on the holidays, 4th of July, Veterans Day, Flag Day, I can't think of all the other days, but if it's a Memorial Day or a holiday, the flags are out. And these folks put those flags out in the morning, they pick them up at night. If it's raining, they try not to put them out if it's raining, but if it's not raining, they'll put them out, and if it starts raining at 10 o'clock, they just got wet. And, so they do a tremendous job, and it adds to the downtown and the way things look, but they do a valuable job to the community, and I'm proud of what y'all do.
and I'm glad you brought that up because that's another significant fundraiser for us because individuals and businesses make contributions to the Rotary Foundation for us to place a flag based on that contribution, and those contributions support our programs, the backpack program, the Gap Food as well.
So any of you want a flag, you know where to call, where to go.
Post Office Box 86.
P.O. Box 86. He's good at that, does a very good job. But thank you very much, and we appreciate what you all do. Gentlemen, there's a motion been made and a second. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Those opposed likewise, the motion passes. Thank you. Item number 8 on the agenda tonight, and if you guys need to leave or something, I totally understand that and I respect that. I'll give you this opportunity to leave, give you 3 seconds to keep the noise down. We appreciate you being here and appreciate everything you do. Thank you. Okay. Item number 8 on the agenda tonight, sales tax report. I'd call on Mr. Rick French, County Manager.
Thank you. Just our monthly sales tax report through 9 months. Sales tax collections, we've received $2,699,662. We have budgeted $3,609,000 total. That is, if you look at our through 9 months totals, we're $10,933 ahead, which is not too good. In the hold harmless set aside for schools, we're at $76,908 basically behind. So that's our sales tax report. It's catching up with us here, but we do have 3 more months of sales taxes. So, and if that doesn't make sense, it runs 2 months behind. So that's just the way that we receive our funds. So we're receiving sales taxes in August for this fiscal year. So anyway, that's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. French. Any questions?
Nope.
Item number 8 on the agenda tonight, to change the regular Commissioners meeting from June the 24th, 2013 to June the 19th. I'd call on Mr. French.
June 24th is our regular meeting. That's the date we had planned to adopt our budget. And to change it, we just need to take action tonight to the Wednesday, June 19th at 6 o'clock here at CVCC.
I move we change the meeting as noted.
Second?
Motion's made and seconded. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Those opposed likewise, the motion carries. Item number 10, Board appointments and reappointments. Mr. French, County Manager.
Thank you. Region E Aging Advisory Committee, appoint Margot Mosley for 2 years. Board of Health, appoint Dr. Cody Wingler for 3 years. Senior Center Advisory Committee, appoint Geraldine Perry for 3 years. Reappoint Shirley Flowers and Shirley Mays for 3 years. Joint Nursing and Adult Care Community Advisory Committee, appoint Carol Mays, 1 year. Reappoint Davida Roseman for 3 years. DSS Board, reappoint Barbara Mays, 3 years. And for the Western Piedmont Water Resources Committee, just that there's 2 names submitted, if we just reappoint Lenny Rogers at this time.
Move to approve those appointments.
I second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. All those opposed likewise, motion carries. Item number 11, budget ordinance amendments number 59 through 62. Mr. French.
Thank you. Budget amendments, number 59 is to remove the Nourishing North Carolina grant from the fiscal year 2013 budget. The grant is established as a community garden, will be implemented by the Extension Service in fiscal year 2014 budget year to increase DSS budget for additional child daycare funding, to increase library budget for state aid funding greater than original budget estimate. Budget amendment number 60, to increase Extension Service budget for additional donations and recently received Christmas parade invoices, to increase the DSS budget for additional donations for Karen's Kids Project, to increase the administration budget for travel expense for the remainder of fiscal year 2013, to increase the finance budget for estimated bank fees for May and June 2013, to increase the Register of Deeds budget for estimate of required payments to the state for May and June 2013, to increase the EMS budget for estimated expenses for the remainder of fiscal year 2013, to increase recreation budget for estimated expenses for the remainder of 2013, to increase the senior center budget for estimated expenses for the remainder of 2013. Number 61, budget amendment 61, is to adjust the budget estimate for sales tax hold harmless, what we spoke about earlier, to the school system based on a year-to-date receipts. And budget amendment number 62 is to move the Parks and Recreation project contingency funds to the general fund in fiscal year 2013 in preparation for the local match required from the general fund in fiscal year 2014 and fiscal year 2015 for the part of which is the Parks and Recreation Trust Fund grant for Phase 2 of Rocky Face Park.
Entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second?
Motion's been made and second. Is there any discussion?
I would just like to know what's Karen's Kids expense.
It's in memory of our former DSS director, Judy. We have donations, and that's on the expense side for that.
You have an okay.
Any other questions? The motion's been made and second. Is all those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Those opposed likewise, motion carries. Number 12, other business. County Manager's report, Mr. French.
Thank you. The 106th North Carolina Association of County Commissioners Annual Conference is scheduled to be held August the 22nd through the 25th in Guilford County. Please be checking your calendars. We need to make reservations soon. Rocky Fest was held on May 25th. We had over 800 citizens, and we had a number of runners compete at different distances from 10K to 50K. Also, and there were a number of staff people that should be given special recognition for their volunteer work on Rocky Fest Day. And those people are David Eisenhower, Gary Herman, Chad Ritchie, Alicia and Steve Stamey, Judy Feimster, Russell Green, Mark Earl, Greg Cronk, Diane Self, Michael White, Commissioner Larry Yoder, Kim Stein, Kathy Bach, Karen Brown, Lee Milstead, Leslie Meadows, Lisa Harrington, and Randy Harrington, and Bob Russo. Scott Mitchell, and there were several members of the Alexander County Rescue Squad. On June 1st, a number of staff helped with the Caring Hearts 5K run. We operated the finish line, and I'd like to say a special thanks and Greg Cronk and Chad Ritchie, because they have lots and lots of patience. Also, the next two events, the county's planning, we were planning two events. One is the Wild Ride. This will be the third year we've done that. It's a 100K and 50K bike ride, and it's held on August 24th, 2013. And the Midnight Festival Road Race, and it'll be held September 28th, 2013, and that is a half marathon, 10K, and 5K event. and it might not mean a lot to some of you, but I would like to say, in the last 3 weeks, we've had a 5K run, a trail run, and a triathlon in Alexander counties. We've had distances from 5K, 10K, 20K, 50K. The triathlon had a 400-yard swim and a 15-mile bike ride and a 3-mile run. And there's a lot of organizations to thank, but it could not happen, wouldn't even be possible to happen without volunteers. So just want to mention that. And I think that's all I have in my report. I have some items for closed session though, Mr. Vice Chairman.
Okay. Any questions? The consent agenda? Motion to approve? Move to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion's made and second. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Those opposed likewise, the motion carries. At this time, that will be the, now let's see, closed session. I'll make a motion to go into closed session under North Carolina General Statutes 143-318.11, A, 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6 to prevent disclosure of confidential information, degrees, prizes, or awards, economic development, contractual, and personnel. We will re-adjourn for the primary purpose of adjournment only. I'll make that in the form of a motion, gentlemen and ladies. Second. All those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Those opposed likewise, the motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.